With Ian Choo, we're today talking about the abilities of a great consultant saving clients' energy. And as many clients have gone a long road and they know many things and they've heard it all, so to say, they want to hear the frank speech and they really want information that will help them go forward. And today we're speaking with Ian about this role of a consultant being really frank. Now, Ian, when you meet people and many require maybe a little small talk and maybe we're introducing things, what we do and what we can give them, how would you think frankness would benefit the client, not only in saving energy, but in other ways?
Well, as I started this conversation with you, Sini, I told you essentially why I'm quite a bad consultant in the usual sense. Speak my mind. Sometimes I cut straight to the point of what I really think without running people in circles. Um, I'm usually fairly candid about what I can't do, which in trying to sell consulting work sometimes gets you in trouble really early. And the last bit of it, I think probably just for this point, I don't know whether this is a good or a bad thing, but I'm fairly upfront about my convictions and my values. And being upfront and about your conviction and your values is quite a polarizing act as a consultant, because it's one of those things where you realize it's almost like if you like what you hear, we should continue this. But if you don't like what you hear, this is me, all right? I think we should go try something else. Um, I've had mixed reviews on whether this is a good idea, but in the course of my life, I've always found it to be a good thing rather than a bad one.
I think it serves especially those clients who are very aware and they have already gone through a lot and they know how to lead a program well. So they want the direct answer, the solution for that question on the table. And you have a lot to offer, like with Blue Carbon Gold, the program. You were recently speaking for an audience, and the feedback was great. How can people find you? I mean, not only the web pages, but if they want to meet you, what do they need to do? Do they just send you an email? Hey, let's have a webinar, or how does it work?
Well, I this part of me is still kind of I'm the last part of Generation X, but I think this part of me is a little bit more millennial, which I'm kind of multimodal. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on email, Ian at bluecarbongold.io. Um, I'm not on Twitter. I mean, Twitter's just noisy. And yeah, I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. That's the part of me that's kind of from the old generation. But yeah, email and LinkedIn works fairly well.
I'd like to hear your point of disinformation in the internet. We know that it's not a safe world nowadays, and there's a lot of not only disinformation, but a lot of noise. Just like you said in the internet, there's a lot of filters, there's a lot of fake news material that people need to recognize is real or not. And isolation from the real is a problem of our time, and people might be exposed to the internet inside that lonely space. Many people who have high talents may be still isolated, are not able to find their place, especially if they're really talented people and are wanting to change things. What would you say to those who are trying to navigate inside this disinformation and fake news times that we have?
Well, uh, there's obviously a whole bunch of state and non-state actors pumping out a whole bunch of fake news that fits their view of the world. Uh, However, in my view, my humble opinion, I don't think that's kind of the worst aspects of it. Okay. Uh, Probably to me, the worst aspects of the internet is two things, which is the algorithmic echo chamber. Essentially, they've done a profile on you, and all the channels do, right? And because they want to promote engagement, they you get into this strange mix of telling you what they think you want to hear, and just to keep you going, they feed you a little bit of outrage, right? Because outrage kind of is known to promote engagement, and they kind of stir you a little bit, right? And this social media echo chamber that creates a circularity of worldviews, I think is really dangerous.
And there's a lot of programs now that are trying to quickly change things to the better that are making immaterial content.
Mm.
Let's say I'm one small factor creating ocean advocacy and maybe ocean influencing even to try and to create those emotions in people that they want to take care of oceans, but it's only a small part. So there's a lot of things going on, and many are really big ones. What about the immaterial possibility to influence online? What would you say about that?
Well, what exactly would you mean by immaterial possibilities, Sini? Just to
Well,
clarify.
yeah, let's say that people want to be the pioneer and they want to renew things, but they're going inside this internet whole ocean that is filled with so many things, and we're not sure if the information is real, what is there. How can they create something that really changes things in the way that it is effective?
Okay. Let me I remember one of the words that was invented in the last decade was selectivism. Are you familiar with the word selectivism?
No, it's new for me.
Selectivism is a play on the word activism. It's where people go off and they see a cause they like and they either thumb up on it or they share it and they feel like they've done their place on it. One of, I think, the unfortunate side effects of the social media revolution is this act of creating selectivism, where people back in the days used to have convictions. They used to act on those convictions. They used to create things based on your convictions. To a large degree, I think we should go back to that, you know, as opposed to clicking share, all right, saying something on a post, and then the emotions go away, and that's really of no real consequence. We need to go back to understand that we need to have to create the future based on our convictions. That's my 2 cents worth.
What do you think about the influence of people's personal identity in this time when we think about internet? Not only their work role, business, but their value system and how they see life. What do you think about this? What do you see as a big issue and maybe even dangerous in that time regarding the impact of internet?
So, I've been spending some time thinking about this recently. The famous philosopher Zygmunt Bauman uh, coined the term liquid modernity. The idea that in the modern world, we have, we're we're kind of fracturing into these islands, right? That really have no bridges to each other. You know, you're on an island uh, given by your racial identity. You're on an island defined by your profession. You're on an island defined by your sexuality. Uh, and as a whole, in the modern world, we have less and less things that are able to form the strong shared core of a society or a community. I think there was a hope in the early days of the internet. Yes, I was that old, right? That the internet would be a communication that actually brought people together into this shared sense of community and identity, right? Perhaps even on a global scale. However, it seems like the opposite is happening. what you're really seeing is people retreating into the islands. And the scary part is that a lot of these islands have no bridges. I'll just kind of finish off with just one last thought as well. Uh, I was just looking at my son getting educated, and I've noticed, I don't think this is a generational thing because I'm guilty of it as well. There is really a lost art of discourse, of being able to not only tolerate, but to celebrate information or worldviews that contradicts where you started from to start with. I think in alongside when you see the core, the shared core of information is going decomposing into islands. On an individual level, people are losing the art of being able to debate, to listen, to tolerate uh, things that don't fit their initial inclinations.
If we
So,
look at the internet, there's a lot of content available for almost anybody. They
mm,
can just Google, they can seek. What kind of an information would guide them into a more open and new thinking path? What would you want the internet to have at this time?
I'll answer your question a little bit indirectly. Um, I remember when as a student, I was studying the difference of what was known as knowledge management back in the days. And it made the big distinction between data, uh, information, knowledge, and wisdom. Okay, I won't go into the definitions, but I think everybody has an intuitive understanding that these are different things. Ironically, the modern internet, I think we're drowning in data and information. And we have less people who are able to make the jump up into knowledge, and even less that take the knowledge up into wisdom. So if there's anything to answer your question, I hope uh, I'm romantic for a time of people having guides, the wise men and women of old who says, yes, there's all this, but here's how to make sense of it, right? And it gives me some hope that this is still deeply a humanistic endeavor. There is a place for human beings in all of this because machines can't generate wisdom.
And you kind of get a thirst for that knowledge after a while. You have that machine created information that is similar to everybody. You want that spark, you want to learn. So I think people are seeking towards information, but it might be hard to find if they cannot recognize what is fake and what is not. And as I'm researching oceans a lot, disinformation is now really on the table because of dark ocean information being found. And there's a lot of AI generated information that's good, but also a lot of fake ones that is really real looking and might be a creature that they've just found in the dark ocean floor, and it looks like it swims there. It looks like it eats another species there, and they even might have the indicators of how deep it is on the screen. So it's fake news all the way. So it's very difficult to recognize, especially from the new information, what is actually new and what is not.
Well, there's this whole discussion of AI slop, right? And I remember somebody telling me that we know much more about the surface of planets than the depths of our ocean. And given how little we know about the depths of our ocean, I was hoping that that will be one of the last places that AI slop would be able to reach.
Your work,
Unfortunately, yeah.
yeah, no, it's like a never-ending road. It will be interesting to see where it all goes. And with your work with blue carbon gold, what is your dream to achieve in the next 5 years?
Well, l- I'm trying to put the value of nature, all right, on chain and in a way that people can invest in with a return. Okay. Um, the reason I started with mangroves as a place, for financial innovation was really, I think it's one of the few ecosystems that there's a growing consensus that people think that it's largely speaking virtuous for the planet. And in thinking about how to innovate the next generation of financial products based on nature, I needed to start with something which was there was a broad consensus. It's not without risks. I mean, there's still good, well-managed products in blue carbon restoration and badly managed products. But I sincerely think that an ecosystem that sequesters carbon, pro provides livelihoods for people, um, biodiversity habitats for birds and fish and shellfish. Uh, this was really a natural place for me to start in thinking about how do we build the next generation of investable financial products. So my hope is that people will start asking those kind of questions about what constitutes good and what constitutes bad and how do we invest for the future. That is my hope.
What can we say to those people who say, do we have enough time to help the planet anymore? Are we too late? What do we say to them?
I quote the legendary Bill Hicks. He says, "Planet was here a long time before we were here, and will be here a long time after we're gone." It doesn't mean we shouldn't do anything, but I think that the thought that we are just a drop in the ocean of eternity, I think brings a sense of humbleness, humbleness about our existence and our time on this planet. Hopefully, we leave it in a better state than when we found it.